Teen Talk.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Teen Talk. It was Paul Mertens, the head of the Gifted Student Program at Walter Reed Junior High School, who said, "Some people think democracy means being absolutely equal and having the same curriculum for each student. But in a real democracy, we owe to each individual the opportunity to develop his talents to the utmost." And I would add, there is no more visible place we seem to be failing than in the area of our gifted students. I'm Joseph Feinstein, and today on Teen Talk, we've invited a group of young people who are undeniably gifted. Welcome, panel. Welcome to Teen Talk. Emerson once said that a weed is but a flower that someone decides doesn't belong in the garden. And I'm wondering, have you ever felt, because of your gifted status, that you don't belong? Matt, how do you feel about that?
I really feel that I do belong because I attend the Walter Reed Junior High Individualized Honors Program, and they've set us aside with the curriculum that we can have. And because of that, I feel that it's appropriate, and I don't feel isolated because I do have friends outside of the program.
Good. I'm glad to hear you say it, and I'm glad the way you said it. You said it with a great determination. I appreciate that very much. How about you, Mario? Do you feel like you belong, or?
Well, very rarely. I mean, I might be joked about it sometimes. They might say, well, Mario's here, so he can do it, because he's probably the smartest in the group.
Yeah.
That's how I felt in elementary school a lot. But when you get into junior high school, in high school, you find that many people around you are much smarter than you are, or equal. So then, I've never experienced people who are like a lot smarter than I was. So you really fit in very well. And as long as you become friends with everyone, and just make sure you have a lot of different friends. It doesn't matter their intelligence, as long as you have a lot of friends, it doesn't matter.
Drew, do you feel this way too?
Yeah, I'm in college now, by the way, and it's kind of hard recently because, I'm living in the dorms now. I'm an only child. I'm not used to living with other people, so, I mean, naturally I'm going to feel like I don't belong. The real problem I have is that, I realize my talent, but and I have some problems realizing other people's talents, and my biggest fight is to try to avoid being pompous about it, or arrogant, because...
Were you arrogant in high school or in elementary school?
No. In high school and elementary school, I was pretty low-key, basically because I didn't achieve as much as I would like to. And I had a real problem with procrastination. So I'm just getting over that. But it was a serious problem, so...
Okay, yeah, I know. You can put it off up until just so much time, and then you have to finally get to it.
Yeah.
What about you, Lisa? Do you feel like you're somebody different because you're so smart?
Well, yeah, I did. I was real ostracized in high school. I'm in college now also. And, yeah, because my scores were so far above everybody else's that I knew when the PSAT scores came out and somebody that knew me was in the office the night before they were announced, my score went all the way around the school before I knew it.
Really?
And, yeah, and it was the highest that had been ever at my school for the last 8 years, and the only one that beat it was my big sister.
Really?
Yeah.
The genes marched on into your body, yes.
And it was tough because everybody was like, oh,
what does it feel like? What I not being a gifted myself, I don't know the feeling, but what does it feel like when all that was happening to you? What was going on inside of Lisa's heart?
It makes me really angry. Because I know that I know things. I can assume that I know things, and I use words that other people don't know sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I don't realize the other people that I'm talking to aren't on the communicating with me at the same level. And it's really hard because nobody ever taught me to be ashamed of it. Or
I know, and I don't want, that's the whole purpose of it. There should not be any shame attached to it, rather just the opposite. There can be a pride and a willingness to understand that you are in a very small minority, 3% of our population, and that this is a blessing that's been given to you. And with it, with every blessing, comes responsibility. And how you use that responsibility is, of course, a very important byproduct of everything. Amanda, you're not as old as Lisa or Drew. You're just our 14, a little baby kind of person. What's it like to know that you're gifted? What does it feel like?
Well, it's kind of between Lisa's and,
Drew?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel left out, but now, I did when I was in elementary school, but now that I'm in junior high, most of the people at the school I go to, Pacoima Junior High, I'm in the gifted section, so almost everyone there is gifted anyway, so it's not like a big deal anymore.
Okay. Do you guys choose and draw out and consciously go for other kids like yourself? Do you do that, Chris?
Not really. I just try to do what I really feel I want to do.
Well, are your friends as bright as you?
I just try to get friends if I like them as a personality. But really, I don't care whether they're smart. I don't care whether they have more brains or less brains than I do. I have some friends who are very intelligent. I have one friend who's very intelligent, I think. And I have some friends who who never got the talents that some of us did.
Okay, I know what you mean. How about you?
Well, I really understand what Drew was talking about, because I know it's really easy to get, like, you get insecure because you know that people, if they find out that you're smarter than they are, or they find out that you get better grades. At my school, since we're only one little program, a lot of the other kids think that, you know, they call us like schoolgirl, or you actually bring your books to school, and for them it's cool to fail. For them it's like cool not to do well in school. So you have to try and, you know, be confident about it, but also be really nice to everyone.
Well, I have to be nice to someone, too. I have to be nice to our sponsor, and we're just one little program, and it's time for that commercial break. I can see that being gifted is both a blessing and a curse, and when we come back, I want to find out how you cope with kidding and jealousy from your friends, and perhaps even your family. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
I found out I'm too good a mechanic to spend my whole life changing fan belts. When you're good at what you do, you ought to work someplace where doing things right really counts. Aim high, Air Force.
Washington is a city that reverberates with the echoes of our nation's history. Those who fought and died in battle, sacrificed for an entire people.
I have a dream. This nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed, that all men are created equal.
Called upon the best in each of us to work together.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Whether those who sacrificed their lives were presidents or privates, they sacrificed to preserve our freedom. So from our nation's capital to our own state capital, your voice is heard on Election Day, but only if you register to vote. So please register for your children and my children, and most importantly, for their children.
Welcome back. I once got a letter from Kim Ung-young, once certified by the Guinness Book of World Records as the most intelligent person in the world. Genius IQ is given at 160. Kim's was 210. The funny thing was, when he wrote me the letter, he was only 2.5 years old. When and how did it first become apparent to you that you were a little different? How about that one? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I know I was tested in the 2nd grade. So when I started 2nd grade, I was in a new school,
with like different surroundings from ones I've ever been in before. It was sort of, you know, a new experience to me. But it didn't really dawn on me that I was, you know, gifted. I was just sort of like, okay, well, they wanted me to put, you know, they wanted to put me in this school because, you know, I did something right. You know,
I did something right.
You know, I did something, so, you know, I guess this is my reward. It didn't appeal to me. Great, you're going to get more education. I was like, why? But I guess it sort of, it started to dawn on me in, like, I guess, 4th or 5th grade when I started to realize my friends are talking about, you know, we went to the zoo today, and I'm like, well, I had to write a 5-page report today.
Something's going on. It's a little different, right?
Yeah, I guess it was around that time. It wasn't like a major change. I didn't feel like I'm gifted. I need to, you know, I need to go out and buy every book I can and learn everything. I just
all right. So there's some things that are shading your awareness. Chris, you wanted to say something.
Yeah. When I was young, for one thing, I did not talk until I was 4 years old, while other kids talk when they're 1. And as time went along, I suddenly started getting interested in such things as space shuttle, you know, things that most kids...
Most 4-year-olds are just not too interested in,
And suddenly I was talking like crazy. I became a very talkative child.
Why do you think you didn't say anything till you were 4? Everything up till then was pretty good, is that it?
I guess so, but probably I was bored or something. I don't...
You had nothing to say.
I had nothing to say.
I had nothing to say, right. Nobody asked him any questions, so he had nothing to say.
But as things went along, I slowly, you know, grew intelligent. I've watched the news, I've read encyclopedias, and as I keep on sort of changing my interests. As when I was young, I wanted to be a doctor first, then came this astronaut, and now I feel like being a politician.
Really? All right. Well, maybe you will be the first intelligent president of the United States. Who knows? The first gifted president. That's always a possibility. The thing I didn't tell you about with Kim Il-sung was the fact that at 2.5 years old, he was reading and writing 4 languages. 4 languages, not just Korean, which is where he was born and raised, but English and French and German were among his languages that he read fluently. And the letter that he wrote me was a 3-page letter in English, which was translated into Korean, or Korean, which was translated into English, and he wrote all 6 pages. So it was incredible. Drew, tell me, the movies are a little rough on intelligent people, on the gifted. They refer to the gifted as nerds, as 4 eyes, you know, and then they take a lot of ribbing and a lot of kidding, and they're not particularly kind to gifted students. How does this make you feel?
Well, obviously it doesn't make me feel very good. The problem is I want to go into cinema, and so I'm kind of interested in changing that problem a little bit.
Good. That's a nice way. You work within a problem.
Right, right. It's a problem, though, for me personally, because to have, you know, the best movie, it's got to appeal to the biggest audience. And personally, you know, I found that a lot of times people have thought, you know, that I was a geek, you know, things I did. I mean, the other night I was lifting weights and I had Gregorian chants, you know, blaring all over the place. And I was wondering, what are people going to think?
Doesn't everybody lift weights to Gregorian chants?
So, you know, it's just things like that. I have kind of odd tastes. I go for esoteric movies, but, you know, the object of making movies is to make money a lot of times. So if I'm a starving artist, you know, it doesn't do
well, just
good.
As long as you don't procrastinate, everything will be just fine. You know, that's the important thing. Tell me, Molly, how have your parents treated you at home? Do they get a little bit exasperated with you, or do you get a little exasperated with them because of, you know, the intelligence factors?
Well, both my mom and my dad are very intelligent people. You know, they both have
You are so
higher
smart
degrees.
to say that. You are so smart. You're going to get a $10 a week allowance raise. Yeah. I know you're kind.
You know, they both went on to college. They both have higher degrees in learning, and my mom especially has really pushed me. You know, she is really behind me, and, you know, she said, okay, we found out you're smart. Now you do everything that you can, and we're going to make you work to your potential. And so, you know, sometimes that gets a little hard on me, because a lot of times you don't want to work, you know. You just
I know. It's called sleep and hang out.
Right, but I like it too, you know. I like working. I like our program. I think it's really interesting.
You're in the Paul Mertens program too?
Yeah.
Terrific.
And both my parents, you know, they've always just said, whatever you do, we know, you know, you'll be the best at it, and we love you. So I've never felt like oh God, I have to do what they say.
I wonder how many parents have said I love you to their children for any reason. There's no reason, whether they're intelligent or not too intelligent, I love you has bearing. Now, you were telling us that your brother is driving you crazy. Is he not as intelligent, or is he more intelligent than you, Amanda?
Well, he's average intelligence, and that's, you know, that's fine, but my parents treat us like completely different people, and they expect him to be as good as I am sometimes. And that drives him up the wall, and it makes me feel guilty sometimes that you know, that I'm more intelligent than he is, and it's, you know.
Well, I'm going to feel guilty, too, if I don't take a station break, so I got to do that. With your gift comes a great responsibility, and when we return, I want to hear your plans for utilizing your special talents as you become adults. We'll be right back, and you stay right there. I want to see you when we get back, okay? I know you realize that you're in a very small segment of our society because only 3 to 5% of our 240 million Americans have the intelligence that you do. What do you see as your special challenge and contributions as a result of having all those smarts? Matt?
Well, when I'm picturing this as when I grow up,
Yes?
I see myself as being successful because I've always wanted to be successful.
Okay, good.
Be successful.
Nice image.
I would like to either make something that would be useful, but I sort of am intrigued by the idea of a Nobel Prize for anything. No, I would work to get one of those, either for peace or for literature. I love to write.
It's a lovely dream. That's a lovely dream. Keep that dream in the forefront of your brain. Lisa, what would you like to do?
Well, I don't know if I feel like I have a challenge. I don't know if I feel like that there's something expected of me. I don't want to feel like there's something expected of me.
Okay, that's a
because
good
I'm
idea.
this bright.
Yeah.
Because my big sister was a published playwright when she was 21, and it's tough footsteps to follow in. And I'm going into theater. I'm in the theater program at Northwestern, and all my English teachers and all my math teachers and all my science teachers won't speak to me from high school because I'm pursuing theater. I'm not pursuing something that they perceive as intellectual.
I am not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you're not in this world to live up to mine. But I guess that may be that some of these teachers feel that you are.
Well, yeah, they all wanted me to go their way because I was good at that subject or this subject or the other subject, and I want to do drama, I guess.
You do your drama and just be the greatest dramatist and actor, whatever you're going to be. Drew, you were in some sort of nice program up north, weren't you?
I've been in a lot of programs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think teachers really expected me to go into anything, you know, purely academic because I cartoon. I cartoon a lot every day, you know, for at least 5 hours. No, have to do homework sometime. Yeah. So I've always, you know, my art has always been the main thing. Of course, it's gotten in the way of a lot. I haven't developed as quickly in other areas as I would have liked to, but I'm starting to do that now.
Good. Good. That's a nice feeling. What are you guys most proud of so far? Mario, anything that you're proud of so far?
I'm proud that I guess since I'm the first generation to actually be born in this of our family to be born in the United States.
Where are you from?
My parents are from South American. Yeah, my dad's Argentine and my mom's Cuban.
Okay.
And also I'm really proud to be born here and be able to better myself because I see the people around me and they're not trying hard enough. I mean, you can be whatever you want to be, no matter. I mean, you just have to try at what you're doing and don't let anybody tell you that you're not supposed to be smart. Because I see a lot of people around me. They used to be honor students, used to be really, really smart, and now they just gave it up. Just they want to be cool, so they don't want it. They don't do their homework, and they're very, very smart. And I see it's just a big waste. It's a really huge waste.
Wow, Vanessa, what are you proud of so far?
I think I'm proud of some of the same things Mario is that I've kept up with my education. You know, I haven't said, you know, well, I want to be cool instead of smart, or I haven't said that being cool doesn't involve being smart. You know. So I think that keeping up with my education is one thing. I like to pursue other things too, and I think I'm pretty proud of myself for that. Not just, you know, not just letting myself.
Well, having been you're seeing a rather disillusioned teacher who left teaching a little bit ago. I retired early from teaching because I've been facing so much failure in watching my students fail and in watching them not coming to school that I've lost a certain amount of that drive and that enthusiasm. How do you keep your enthusiasm up? What do you do to get
I really wanted to say that it's really sad that these days there are so many more teens and so many more children who are not trying their best and not trying their hardest to get a good education. And I think that not only should we push ourselves more, but the parents and the adults of this country should try as much as they can to make sure we have a future.
I don't know what the magic cure is, and I don't know how to stimulate it and encourage it. But without education, which is a wonderfully free gift that's been part of our American society, an American way of life, it's there and it's available. And for young people not to take advantage of it seems so sad in my estimation and so depressing that I just couldn't watch it any longer. And I had to say goodbye to school, and I had to leave that place because going into it each day was such an enervating experience. If I had a group of kids like you every day, it would be a totally different kind of world. Let me leave you with this. Someone said nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. How do you plan to maintain your enthusiasm and your passion in this rather apathetic world? What are you going to do, Drew?
Well, I'm lucky. I have a role model. My best friend, John Hunt, goes to Harvard. And it's, I've watched him for years and years and kind of grew up together. And it's interesting just observing and remembering what he does about certain things. So, I'm lucky in that respect.
For instance, give me one for instance.
Well, let's see. He and I have loads of in-jokes, most people do, but they tend to be, sort of like highbrow in-jokes, like criticizing people on their preposition usage, things like that. Yeah, the whole thing is, he likes to study, and he takes pride in his knowledge, and he knows a heck of a lot. So, I admire that, and we're friends, and so that makes it all the easier.
Well, I admire so much of what you guys have said and so much of what you've offered here. We'll be right back with some final thoughts in just a moment. Stay there. Stay there. I got something more to tell you. Of genius is to carry the spirit of the child into old age. I believe that quote is as appropriate now as when it was first written, but it may be a little more difficult to accomplish today with the barrage of pictures, words, and noise coming from the media. It truly requires a special genius to sift through the trivial and discover the essential. While I'm confident in the bright futures of our guests here today, I'm also concerned about those gifted youngsters who are being left undetected because of poverty, lack of adequate school funding, and absence of encouragement to use their talents to the fullest. This country cannot afford wasting its most valuable resource, the creativity and genius of its people. For Teen Talk, this is Joseph Feinstein saying we'll see you very soon.
He was a manager in a small factory, a voter, taxpayer, a neighbor to people like you. He did
AIDS to make me realize that I was putting myself and my family in danger. I was cheating. It's not worth it. I love my family, and I'm not bringing AIDS home.
Find out more about AIDS. Call 1-800-342-AIDS.
LA in the Morning is on the move. Join host Stephanie Edwards and John Bauman mornings at 11 a.m. for the best of LA. Channel 9 Public Affairs presents the show where kids tell it like it is. Teen Talk.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Teen Talk. How do people create their dreams for the future? Who do we look up to for inspiration in our lives? And what happens in a person's life that makes him want to emulate the likes of Eleanor Roosevelt or Martin Luther King Jr. or Michael Jackson? I'm Joseph Feinstein, and today on Teen Talk, we've invited a panel of youngsters to discuss the role models they can relate to, the people they admire and look up to as their source of inspiration and emulation. Welcome, panel. Welcome to Teen Talk. Tell me, as you look at yourselves right now, who has been the greatest single role model in your life? Michael, who has it been?
Well, my father, really. You know, he has, like, you know, several jobs, and it's like I don't hardly get to really see him that much. But when I do, you know, I'm happy to be with him, and he, you know, when he gets time, he takes me places. And, you know, I really love my father. I like that he can do these things and still have these jobs to take care of us.
I really love the fact that you think of him in that kind of way. What does he do?
He's an English teacher at Robert Frost Junior High School, and he works at Sycamore Boys Home on the weekends, and he is a basketball coach at Blair High School.
Well, that's a really nice example to talk about. Peter, who is your single role model out of all those?
Mom's gonna kill me, but Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee Herman?
Yeah.
How is it Pee Wee Herman? Why?
Because ever since he first came out, like with his first movie and everything, I can relate to him.
In what sense?
I'm a goof off.
You are
Very much.
So you relate to that part of his wacko personality kind of thing? Yeah, having known you in my class as a student of mine, I can attest to the fact that I find you very funny. I find you very naturally funny. I mean, you know, you got a comedy talent that's really a delight. So that if you like, what's his name? Pee Wee Herman. Pee Wee Herman. It would just seem to me to be the kind of, you know, that's a nice identification for you. I can appreciate that. I used to love Lou Costello when I was a kid myself. Julene, who do you particularly admire?
She's my acting teacher right now. Her name is Bobby Chance, and she's a former actress. And right now she teaches kids how to act. And the reason why I admire her so much is because she's done everything I want to do in my life, and she's taught me a lot of values.
What one value can you think of that she really taught you?
She taught me to love myself and to appreciate what I have. So
I think if there be no other value in this life that a person could teach another person or show through example the idea of loving themselves, really enjoying themselves as a person, I think that is absolutely one of the nicest things a person can do for another. That's a beautiful example you gave. How about you, Amanda? Who do you particularly admire?
I'd say Lonnie Anderson.
Laurie Anderson. That's interesting. Why? Why do you feel that way about Lonnie?
She's had a lot of things that she's accomplished in her life, and she just recently adopted a young boy, and I think that's really neat. My family, we adopted 2 boys. They're now 11, and I really...
Are they twins?
No, they're not twins.
Okay.
And I admire her because I know how much stuff we go through with them, and they're animals. And but I love them so much, and now that they're getting older, I take them places, and now it's like I'm the big sister. Anybody touches my brothers and they're dead, you know.
Wow.
I understand, and I think that's really great, because when you adopt a child, you know, when you have a baby, it's like, you know, you have to have it, you know, whatever. And we chose to get them, and I remember my parents, we almost didn't get them at the very end, and it was so hard on my parents. They really wanted more kids, and I just really understand that.
Well, I think that's a lovely example, and it's a nice identification there, too. It's said that the only way to raise a decent human being is by being one yourself. How and in what ways have your parents been good role models? Jessica, how has your parent been a good role model?
Well, both my parents, especially my mother, they taught me a lot. Ever since I was little, I used to get beatings and stuff, but she taught me a lot, and what I admire of her is because she has a lot of patience, too much. I couldn't have that much, and I've been through a lot, through school, friends, and got in a lot of trouble, and she's always been there for me, and it's really her patience.
That's very nice. I'm really happy to hear you say that. A parent that's really standing behind his or her child is somebody that the kid can really respect and look up to. How about you, Chris?
Well, to me, my parents have sort of led me, through the childhood years and through the teenage years, and they've sort of given me like a ladder to climb on through school and through trouble.
What a nice metaphor, a ladder to climb on, yeah?
Yeah, and
did they ever pull some of the rungs out of the ladder at any time?
There have been times like that, yeah.
How did they do that?
Well, I think after maybe a year later, I remember it was for the best, but when it happens, when they, keep you from going on a date or something like that, you get really steamed.
Well, as somebody who really appreciated his mother, as I did myself, my mom had a great deal of time. She always made a lot of time for me in her life. And whenever I had a problem, there was always time. I was kind of like, your father was kind of like mine a little bit, Michael, in the sense that he wasn't around very much. He was working a lot, and so I didn't see him very much. And I needed the presence of somebody who really cared. And having Mom there was really important, really very, very important. Has Mom been a good source for you too, Karen?
Yeah, sometimes she's rarely home now because she has her own business. And she inspires me to do good in school, because if I don't get good grades, she says, why didn't you get it good, And, I tell her, well, I try. And she says, okay, well, you try harder.
Does she understand when you're goofing off a little bit or when you're not doing too well?
Sometimes I think she does, but other times I don't. I think that she forgot how it is to be a teenager.
I think a lot of us sometimes forget how to be a teenager. We mustn't forget about our sponsor, though. There's an old saying that goes, the times they are a-changin'. That's true for our role models as well. When we come back, I want to ask our very liberated male panel members if any of their role models are women. We'll be right back. Role models are necessary because they help us validate our priorities. Without them, we're forced to make decisions based on little more than our instincts. What are some of your priorities, panel, and who out there is pointing you in the right direction? How about it, Mary Beth?
Well, to me, I look up to a lot of people, and I can't really distinguish one person from another because I feel the people I look up to are people who are successful, and their priorities are...
Give me some examples.
Like, for instance, the police officer that I work with right now because I'm in the police academy. He has goals in making us, the future, and he's going to do it. And my father, for instance, too, he had goals and he reached them, and he still has goals, and he's reaching them too. And my father is the one really who leads me to my priorities. My priority is have a goal and fulfill it. And right now, I feel I'm working very hard for it.
That's a wonderful idea, and it's a wonderful idea to keep in mind, to have a goal, look forward to that goal, but still and all, keep your eye on the present tense. Always keep your eye on the present tense with some part of you aiming toward the future. That's always a neat idea. Who are you keeping your eye on? You got your acting teacher, but there must be other people too.
My parents.
Your parents, yeah?
And my best friend also.
Your best friend is one of your role models?
Yep.
I had a best friend who was a role model for me too. My friend Les. Who is your role model?
Her name's Chrissy, and she's my next door neighbor, and my best friend also. And her whole life is she's leading it as getting good grades and doing everything right. She's a church singer. She sings in her church. And everything she does is, it's good, and she does it for a reason because she likes it.
Well, my friend Les was a dresser. He was the nattiest dresser in the whole world. He really knew how to wear his clothes, and I used to look at him. He wore the belt on the side before anybody else was wearing it on the side. And I remember that I really loved this example because he was always buying really fancy clothes, and I would always try and emulate him. He was a guy that I would really look up to, aside from some of the other important people of my life, and John F. Kennedy and Franklin Delano Roosevelt and some of those those kinds of people. Now, there was a time that you girls were expected to be secretaries or clerks. There was a time in our society when if you thought about anything besides secretarial work or clerical work, it was not expected. And if you went to college, Carrie, you were expected to either study nursing or teaching or secretarial science of one sort or another. And nowadays, as you know, the world is opening up to you. And now you can become the president of a moving picture company, motion picture company. You can become the head of the state, like Golda Meir or Madame Nehru. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do and that you can become. Does that idea, can you relate to that idea? Amanda, can you relate to that?
Yeah, I can. I just think that, see, because if I grew up in that time and someone told me, no, you have to do this and you have to do that, I'd be like, well, no, you know, I can't, like, and plus I can't handle people saying really no to me like that. If I really think I can do something, you know. I couldn't handle being cooped up in an office all day and doing that. I got to be outside, and, you know, I love animals. I know I'll be doing something with animals.
Well, that's why you have your brothers.
Yeah. No, I just think that I don't know, I just want to be myself, and then I don't want anybody else to choose what I want to do. I mean, I don't want to just get married and have children with me, that's it. I mean, if I do have my children, I want a job, you know, and I'm going to do all the housework and everything. I just think that, I don't know how people can stay home.
Well, I don't know either. How about you, Carrie? Can you relate to the idea that you can be president of the United States?
No, not really.
Not really. A little bit hard to imagine.
Yeah.
What do you want to become?
Makeup and special effects artist for movies.
Okay.
That's what I really wanted to do.
So a guy like Joe Bologna, who is a very famous name in this profession, is he somebody that you would look up to, for instance?
Yeah, I would look up to him, even though I don't know who the person is.
Take my word for it. I may not always be right, but I'm never wrong. But what about you, Mary Beth?
Well, as for president, maybe somebody, you know, who would really want to be that, but as for me, you know, I want to be a police officer. Most people, even males, are like, why, you know? And as for a female, you know, but I think also I'm looked up to because it's not a profession that everybody would like to get into, or at such a young age they decide to want to get into it. So I think, you know, today, you know, you can be anything you want, and I don't think I could relate, like...
Well, you can, but you can. If you want to become a woman police person, then you are undoubtedly, there was never such a thing as a woman police. I mean, we didn't know of that before Cagney and Lacey. You know, they're too new, it's a whole new profession for women, as is almost any kind of profession that used to be only for men, you know? How about you, Jessica? Can you relate to the fact that you can be anybody you want to be, the president of a company?
No, I would go for what I believe I can do, but I don't think I would want to be president.
No? You don't want to be president?
Not of the United States. I couldn't handle it. I'm not even from here, so why? I don't know, I just couldn't handle it.
Well, I don't think I could handle it too easily either, but I know one of the things that I have to handle is this commercial. When I was growing up, one of the great role models was the Yankees' Joe DiMaggio. When we come back, let's find out if athletes are still popular idols with youngsters and what other professions have become sources of inspiration for the teens of today. Stay right there. Welcome back. In a recent survey of teenagers, their role models primarily came from the ranks of sports, music, and entertainment. What are the special qualities of Michael Jackson, Joe Montana, or Debbie Gibson that young people admire so much? What is it, Peter?
Their popularity.
Yeah?
Like, you know, everybody wants to be rich and famous, have big houses, and everybody knows their name.
Yeah, we put a lot of emphasis in America about rich and famous, and rich, making a lot of money seems to be something that we want to follow and primarily role model. How about it, Michael? Why do all these people go for the Montanas and the Jacksons?
Well, because people want to be known, like, if they know Michael Jackson, then they think that more people will like them better because what they know and what they have. And I think if you want to be somebody, that you should stay yourself and, keep the same friends and don't change, because that's what really makes rumors and things like that.
I love what you're saying. I love what you're saying. You're saying it all right as far as I'm concerned. That's exactly right. Being yourself is probably the most important and most difficult thing at times to do. One of my very special role models in my life happened to be Miss Beckhart, my 11th grade U.S. history teacher. And I was crazy about her. She was a marvelous teacher. She had a flair about her, a style. She had a great sense of humor. She would sit there and teach us history, and I learned it. I really learned my history, and I really loved learning it from her. And I'm wondering, do any of you have role models who are teachers? Chris, do you have any teacher role models?
Well, I think we considered teachers more of role models when we were younger in elementary school. And then we sort of said teachers are, not the highest thing. But I had a teacher in 9th grade history who really taught me a lot about the history of the world and its effects and cultures. His name was Mr. Gugas. He teaches at Madison Junior High. And he's really helped me prepare for high school. And I just thank him a lot for doing that.
Well, that's really nice, and I like the way you said that. Really nice. Julene, do you have any teachers besides Bobby, your acting teacher?
Yes. In fact, I have a lot of teachers that have inspired me. I had a 6th grade teacher who, she was more of a friend than a teacher. She was always a lot of fun to be with, and she was just a lot of fun to be taught by. And also right now I have 2 9th grade teachers that I like a lot. My English teacher, because she's very 80s.
Very 80s. I've never heard that expression. She's very 80s, yes.
All the music that I like. And she's always a lot of fun. She talks about her personal life with us, and she's a lot like a friend, too. And we also have a religion teacher who's always very straight and very forward with us, and she doesn't try to put it into adult words. She tells it how it is.
Yeah, simplicity, friendliness, a compassion, sensitivity. These seem to be the guiding factors of what makes a nice teacher nice. How about you, Amanda? Did you have any school teachers?
Yes, my 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Christensen. She was like my best friend. She was a teacher, and she taught so well. I mean, I didn't do good in, elementary school or anything, but when it came to her, it was like, all she'd do is, ask me to do anything, and I was like, oh, okay, sure, anything for you, and I just really, I don't know, I called her, like, not when we were at school, like, sort of referred to her as my grandma, and she liked that, and she just seems like, I don't see my grandma much, and she just resembles her, I think.
I used to call Mrs. Beckhart Becky Baby, and she would say, you're going to get your comeuppance one of these days. But I didn't say it out of disrespect. I really loved her. And it was only the feeling of such closeness between myself and herself that enabled me to call her Becky Baby. What examples do you plan to set for your children that you hope that they'll role model? Mary Beth, what would you like your kids to do that you could set?
I plan to set, I plan to be a really good mother and a really good role. I want them to look on me as a role model, too.
What will you do?
I will, I will tell them, I won't tell them how to do things. I will tell them, I will show them that they can do what they want to do if they try hard enough. And I will tell them, that they can do it. And I will tell them how to do it. And if they can succeed, I know they will.
You people are making so much sense today. Michael, what would you do for your son that seems to be happening from your father to you?
Well, I would try to spend a lot of time with him so that he doesn't feel that I'm not, giving him the needs that he needs. And like my mother, she's a director of a Christian home, so for Christ, I would, influence him on going to church and to school, and if he wants to be something, then I will help him all the way and give him the support he needs. So.
God, that's wonderful, wonderful. I think I chose the right panel for today's message. We'll be back to wrap up our discussion in just a moment. Heroes. Today we have sheroes as well. Women whose contributions stand out as wonderful examples for all young people to emulate. Sandra Day O'Connor, Coretta Scott King, Golda Meir, Sally Ride, and Florence Griffith Joyner, just to name a few. Our youth deserve a wider array of role models than Michael, Magic, and Bruce. Teachers, writers, artists, musicians, and especially loving, caring, and attentive parents are the first and often best sources for inspiration. They give us our first glimpses of patience, warmth, and humanity. There can never be enough of those qualities in anyone's life. For Teen Talk, this is Joseph Feinstein saying we'll see you very soon.
Get a free sample of new extra strength domes and this Craftmatic adjustable bed catalog free by mail. When